Yep. Yep. We're
Okay,
all set. So,
cool.
all right, guys. Tonight we have an awesome guest. We got Joe Garcia. Joe is heading up or excuse me, QE 2019. It's been a
Yep.
long day. QE 2019 in Southern California. I've been talking to Joe for what it's been about a month and a half, 2 months now about QE 2019, and just through emails mostly, and then we talked one time live a few weeks ago on the phone. And I got to tell you, talking with him, we talked for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or something live on the
Hmm.
phone. And there wasn't a single thing he said that I disagreed with. It's not very often you have those conversations where it's like, wow, I just right in tune with this dude, just eye to eye. Yep, 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 yep. Like as a second witness. And so before we get going, I want to read this here. If you guys have the book, so at the very end of it, in the acknowledgments, I want to read this. So if you guys are familiar with the book, those of you guys that have it and really understand what it says, people, in my opinion, there's people that have been killed for doing far less than this, and it's not about me at all. But I just understood the consequences or potential consequences of having something like this out and putting something like this out. So at the end of the acknowledgments, so on page 294, I put to my son and future kids. And this is just the just in case or the down the road thing. But so bear with me here. You inspire me to be better every day, and I'm so blessed to be your dad. I pray I am as good of an example for you as my dad was for me. I can't wait to see you grow and watch you turn into the awesome adult I know you will be. I don't know what the future holds, but I pray it includes many years. Let me fast forward here. When you trust him and rely on him, he will direct you. He will be right there beside you as you walk down your own path. What is too hard for God? Absolutely nothing. In your life, if or when you find yourself going down the wrong path, he will always be there with you. He loves you more than we can comprehend. Be humble, be respectful, and question everything. Questions will lead you to the truth. Jesus is truth. Your mom and I love you so much. So that was part of the acknowledgments. And I wrote this probably in 2016, that acknowledgement there. I refined it in 2017 when the book was released. And so to have a conference called Question Everything hits near and dear to me. And, I just be humble, be respectful, question everything. And Joe, I couldn't agree with you more. And I do know with what you're doing and the presentation that you're putting on, it is such a needed conference right now. I'm so blessed to have you on. I'm so blessed to be invited to speak there. Not to mention Southern California in February is pretty nice from what I understand compared
That's
to
what I
rainy
heard.
Seattle. So without further ado, Joe Garcia.
All right. Well, Chad, thanks. First of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate that. And yeah, that acknowledgement when you were talking about that and the question everything, that is that's really kind of the basis. That's where everything started, was with that question. My stepson was the one that really came up with that, really coined that phrase for this conference. And it goes back. I have some emotional connection to that phrase too, because when I was younger, my dad would always tell me, believe. I got to get it right. Believe half of what you hear, and or half of what you see, and nothing of what you hear, something like that. And it was basically question everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been somebody that goes through life. I question things. It's gotten me into some trouble sometimes, especially in school. But it's just, yeah, that connection to that question, everything is just, you're right. It means something. We do need to, especially as Christian men, we do need to stand up. We need to question. We can't just go lightly into these situations and not question why, especially when we're family men and we have kids and spouses that we have to care for. So we have to be very careful. So, but again,
Yeah.
thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. And I know it's this mindset, I'm sure you're along the same lines, is the world versus God, and the characteristics of the world in general go completely against what God's will is for us. And
Yeah.
so to me, it's just like questioning, what do we get from the world in general? What we accept from the world we can usually almost put money on it. It's going to be against what God wants for us.
Oh yeah.
And so what is QE 2019? What's if you had an elevator pitch, we got 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, Question Everything is really going to be tackling some of the biggest questions that you have, I have, that a lot of people just around the water cooler are talking about. Through the years, it's been 9/11, the moon landing. These things just don't go away. Nowadays, it's vaccinations, being, family men, and we have kids. Do we do it? Do we not? Is it safe? We hear so many things. So we're going to bring in the top people to come in and answer these questions. We're going to present them with a question. Are these things safe? Is there any truth to these things? And by the end of this conference, we're going to have some answers, and we'll be able to make some informed decisions as Christians, as parents, as husbands and spouses, and as members of this community. What is really going on here? And let's get some answers.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And this comes on the heels of, I just came back from Take on the World 2018, and first conference I've ever been to. And so I didn't know what to expect necessarily going into it, but from my experience, just this last one, it's such a great thing to be around like-minded individuals that are think alike, that want answers, that they all have similar questions. And so I can see how QE 2019 is going to be along the same lines, where you have a group of people coming together that have lots and lots of questions, looking for answers. And there's that camaraderie where out in the world, people like you and me, we're kind of like, who are they? Like kind of the outcasts. But when you have all these people that feel like outcasts getting together, there's camaraderie in that. And there's just inclusion in that. It was just such a great thing in Ohio. And I can guarantee this is going to be just such a great thing there. And I'm looking forward to being down there. I'm so much looking forward to it. And I want to pull up here. I've got the flyer. Let's see if we can see this. All right. You see that up on your screen?
Yep.
So now what are we, first of all, who put this together?
Well, it was an idea that kind of came to me. I'd seen some memes out there that kind of sparked me along this thinking, but I really wanted there to be a person, and the outline of this girl here really looks like my stepdaughter. She does ballet and stuff now, so the bun and the hair and all that stuff kind of reminds us of her. But it was to be somebody like in a reflection mode, where they've got all these questions just bouncing around their heads, and it's internal. It's this internal struggle that we have. Where do I fit in? Who's lying to me? Am I being lied to? That's a big question. Am I being lied to? And how do I decipher what truth is? Now, we have the benefit of having the word, but there's a lot of people that are in different stages of their spiritual walk, if they're even on a walk. And it's a battle between what this book, that is an old fairy tale book that so many people believe, says, versus what science is proven. It's proven, right? Everything's proven in science, we're told, and it's indoctrinated into us from an early age. So this person can be a young person, anywhere from 15 to 25 years old, and they've got, they're at the beginning stages of their life, and they've got all this stuff going on, especially if they watch the news. So these questions are bouncing around in this person's head. NASA, I mean, is there really an ISS, space station up there? Did we really go to the moon? Can they be trusted? Science, can it be trusted? Vaccination, CBD, the question about homosexuality is going to be one that Emily Pittsford's going to be talking about. Incredible
wow
story.
So you're telling me in Southern California you're going to have a talk about homosexuality?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I had to embrace tackling every single question. And here's the biggest question, Chad, is if we're going to be talking about biblical things at this conference at some point, don't we have to kind of question the Bible itself? I mean, for people that are coming in here that don't have a biblical background, they're going to come in here going, wait a minute, you're going to be talking from a book that I don't believe in. And so what Matt Long is going to be doing, he's going to be our first speaker that comes out, and he's really going to just talk about what can we take away from this Bible that is evidence and fact. And there's so much of it out there, especially nowadays. It just seems like The scales of our eyes and our knowledge are being pulled back, and we're being shown just how trustworthy this book is. It's the Word of God. It can be relied upon. And Matt's going to tackle that one from the get-go and lay the foundation of this word can be trusted and is authentic, and it's evidence. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm really excited to be an attendee to this thing, to tell you the truth.
Wow. Well, I'm excited you're putting it on. I mean, I'm really, really pumped, and I don't know, I know God spurred me up to do this book. And so that feeling that you must have to be stirred up to put all this together and to have all these great speakers that are going to be there on all these subjects and all under one roof. Man, I'm just pumped for it, and I got a call today from a perfect stranger. Never met him before, never heard from him. Got a call out of the blue, and just a fellow supporter going to be at these conferences coming up. And you know what he was telling me, and he's in his 60s, and he was telling me how he's seeing things as time goes on, things there's less gray. It's more black and white. It's more obvious what we see. And so to me, it's like what you're talking about is just it just becoming more black and white. What does this say? What are we going to, learn about, what does the Bible say about homosexuality? What are vaccines safe? And all these other subjects, spiritual warfare, man, spiritual warfare for me, what a fascinating subject that almost all of us are super uneducated about. Who's going to be talking regarding that with spiritual warfare?
Yeah, we're going to have, we're really honored to have Jared Cressman coming out, through the black. And he's going to be coming out. And here's the other thing too. All the speakers are going to be presented with a question. So they're going to, in their talk, they're going to be answering a question. And, I don't want to give too much away because it's going to be, pretty exciting. But, Jared's going to be talking about the question of, is there a spiritual battle going on for our mind? Because if the devil can get our mind, he has the rest of us. And so he's going to be tackling that one about the battle of our mind in the spiritual realm. And just really excited to hear what he's going to be bringing to that. I've heard plenty of his talks before, and it's just every single one of these speakers is bringing something, nuggets to this conference.
Yeah. I don't want to get into the detail. I don't want to leave anything out. But then again, we got to leave some suspense because
Sure.
because I met Jared in Ohio, never met him before, and we're in for a treat in Southern California with him, let alone all these other great speakers. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Wow, super pumped. And now, so what's the dates for QE 2019?
So we are looking at February 22nd and 23rd. That is a Friday and a Saturday, and we're looking to be 2 full days. Friday is going to be probably like a 3/4 day. Just the facility that we're at is going to allow us to get in about midday or so. But yeah, full day on Saturday. And I've been reworking and working the schedule and the lineup, and I think I've got it to a point where I think it's going to flow really well, and it's just going to be just so much information coming at people, all different walks of life, all different areas that they're going to be bringing people. You're going to have the vaccination group coming in, and then you're going to have, of course, the flat earth group coming in, and they're all going to be captive audiences for this word, this message that I really feel strongly God wants to lay out here for Southern California, because Southern California is a beautiful place. It's just a very confused place right now.
Yeah,
is a lot of places, but
every time I've been to Southern California, I think almost every time but once, it was in the wintertime. Beautiful. I just loved it, and what a lovely area. My wife, she grew up, and then she didn't grow up there. She spent a lot of time in California, Southern California. She loves it there. She really wants to make the trip down with me. And, so what a great location. And just like you said, the confusion, and I think the world wants us to be confused. Confused people are easy to control and easy to manipulate. And, I just applaud you for having the guts, the courage, the willingness to follow through with this, because this cannot be easy. I talk with Chris a lot, Chris Bailey, over putting on, the conference in Ohio with Take on the World, and what all the behind the scenes stuff you have to coordinate and everything. and they deserve so much credit for what Chris and Liz put together. And same thing with you. I mean, holy cow, to put all this together, I can't even comprehend. And at what was it, $150? Is that right for the 2 days?
Yep, 149 right now. The tickets for both days, correct? Total.
Wow. And just I just thank you so much for putting this on. Thank you for being willing. I can't say that enough, because bringing all this together is just it's not easy. I'm sure you can testify to that, but it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so, what else do you have to say, Joe?
Well, first, I do definitely want to thank you for having me on tonight. Robbie Davidson has been incredibly helpful. Really been leaning on him as my mentor about this. He's put on quite a few successful conferences that we all know about, and just I was on the phone. He gave me a call out of the blue today, and we were on the phone for a good hour, almost hour and a half, and just chatting. And it's just like what you were talking about, just the camaraderie and the common ground, and in the, it's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I think you kind of understand that now too, going to the conferences and such, that just knowing that kind of that positive validation that we are doing the right thing, we're on the right track. You can feel it, but it's nice to be able to look around and see people along with you, that are going along with you. So yeah, we're excited, and for anybody that's out there listening, just keep all of us in your prayers. Robbie and Chris and Liz and Pastor Dean, who's got Skyfall coming up, and then all the speakers. There is a lot that does go on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of spiritual warfare going on, and the enemy does not want this truth to get out. And we don't know what that truth is exactly yet. We don't know what the speakers are going to talk about, but I can guarantee one thing: it's going to be the truth. It's going to be what we need to hear, and you just don't want to miss out on any of these conferences that people are putting on. There's just so much great stuff going on out there. So support whichever area you're in. Definitely do that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's great you're putting one on that section of the country as well, that people near you can get to. And also, yeah, what you talk about with prayer. I mean, for instance, that guy that called me earlier today is wondering what he can be doing with all these subjects. He's just kind of recently woken up to just how deceived we really are. And the first thing I told him was prayer. I mean, finding out what does God want you to be doing with this. And another thing too is, like, just like you said, praying for all these people, praying for you, Joe, to for protection for you and for guidance, especially to put all this on. There's a lot involved with that the finances. I mean, I know all these, even the financially aspect of this, there's so much that you have to coordinate, and the margins have to be so small just to make everything work, before, so you don't go broke in this process, and so there's so much that has to go on with this. And so, and then Robbie, I talked to Robbie, you said you talked to him for an hour and a half. I talked to him for like an hour the other day, and it's like, what, an hour already went by? How'd that already happen?
Yeah.
And so just what a wealth of knowledge he is, and he's done conferences before too. And so, all these different speakers, and just, to me, it's just like you said, it's just be in prayer. And what is our purpose? Each one of us, God wants us to be doing something. Well, what is it for you? Because it certainly might be different for you than for me, than for Joe, than for whoever. So just the one thing needful is what we're supposed to be doing. And I certainly don't know what that is for you, but I know what it is for me. So let's see, man, what is there anything else you wanted to cover, Joe, that you wanted to share? I mean, I'll have you on again at least one or two more times as time goes on, as we get closer to the event in February. I just want to have you on here at least just to give the introduction to everybody out there with QE 2019. And I'm just so pumped for this. It's just something I've been looking forward to since you brought it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's been, all the speakers that I've talked to, just really excited. They like the concept, they like the layout and the format and everything. So it's just, it's different. It's going to be a little bit different than some of the other ones. And I would be remiss if I did not thank my wife, because she's doing so much behind the scenes, talking with the Conference Central, which is the Embassy Suites, is where we're going to have most of the hotel rooms and everything, and the facility, and just a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So I might be the face of the conference talking with people, but she's doing so much behind the scenes. So thank you, Elisa, sweetheart. You're amazing and a wonderful gift.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know you and me both would probably be lost without our wives. That's for sure.
Yeah. We would be dressing funny.
I'd either be a lot skinnier or a lot fatter if I didn't have her.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And so what's the website that people can go to check out your conference?
It's QE2019.com. And you can also find us on Facebook by doing a search for QE 2019. But the website's QE2019.com.
Awesome. Yep. And then for hotels, is it at the location? Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to be posting. In fact, we are going to be visiting the hotel tomorrow to finalize that. And we will have a link on the website on how everybody can book hotel rooms and put in their preferences and all that stuff. Discounted rates, of course. And that should be hitting in the next couple of days, probably sometime next week. So stay tuned for that.
Perfect. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much for coming on QE2019.com and also as well on Facebook. And yeah, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on. Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, brother. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.